series, we'll showcase some of the projects creating mobile-first DeFi solutions on Celo. Let's welcome our first panel speaker, Patrick Barron from Moola, and other panel speakers will be Ian Macalinao from Ubeswap and Brian Lee from PoolTogether, Poof.cash, and Leighton Cusack from PoolTogether. Let's go with Patrick first.
All right, thank you so much. Let me go ahead and share my screen. So I am going to be running through and giving you a demonstration of the Moola app. And we are in the process of implementing a new version of Moola, which I think is you're gonna find very visually appealing, and we've got some slick new features, but not ready to demo that this morning. So let's go ahead and take a look. So when you come to app.moola.market, the first thing you're going to want to do is initiate a connection. Now, everything that I'm doing is live here on my phone, and I'm broadcasting it up on the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and connect my Valora wallet. It's going to open up my Valora wallet and ask me if I want to allow the connection. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. It actually did allow. I just moved a little too quickly. So you can see here that let's try it one more time. Of course, this is how live demos always go, is you do it correctly 100 times in a row, and then as soon as you go live, you get a hurdle. So let's try that one more time. We go ahead and click allow, and it is going to pull in my balances. You can see that my wallet is connected, and I've got my Valora balances right here. So if I want to earn compound interest on my Celo dollars, the first thing I'm going to do is initiate a deposit. So I'm going to deposit we'll say 25 CUSD. I click deposit. It is going to open up the Valora app, ask me to input my PIN code to confirm that this is, in fact, what I want to do. And as soon as this transaction is confirmed, we can view it on the Blockchain Explorer. Now, these transactions cost about 1/1000th of a penny, and you can see that that took place very quickly. And now I have $25. If I'm just looking to earn compound interest, I'm done. I can stop right there because my CUSD is now earning interest and I can just let it ride. But let's say that I am a trader and I'm bearish on the price of Celo. And so I want to take a short position in Celo. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the menu. I'm going to borrow Celo, and I'm going to input an amount. Let's borrow 2 Celo. I again open Valora, sign the transaction, and as soon as this transaction is confirmed, we will be able to see that I now have a debt of 2 Celo. In order to enter into a short position, though, I need to sell the Celo for Celo dollars. And so for that, I'm going to navigate over to Ubeswap. And what I'm going to do is actually sell the Celo for MCUSD. So what this is going to do is sell the Celo and then redeposit the Celo dollars into Moola Market so that I start earning interest on it, as well as it increases my health factor, which I will talk about in just a minute, but essentially means that I'm less likely to have my collateral liquidated. Every loan in Moola has to be over collateralized, transaction success. So when I come back here, what we're going to see is we're going to see my CUSD balance increase in Moola. So let me just go ahead and refresh, and boom, there we go, went from 25 to 35. But let's be honest. Celo is an amazing project, highly undervalued, and a short position is not the right position to be in. So I'm going to go ahead and repay my Celo debt. You can see that the amount I have to repay was slightly larger than 2 Celo that I borrowed. That is because Moola charges a 25 basis point loan origination fee. That is a governable parameter, and it can be adjusted. So now what I want to do is get into a leverage long position in Celo. So I'm going to go ahead and deposit Celo. Let's deposit, we'll do 7 Celo. And again, sign the Moola transaction using Valora. And as soon as this transaction is confirmed, what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to borrow CUSD so that I can sell that CUSD. So now I'm going to come into the menu. I'm going to borrow CUSD. Let's borrow 15 CUSD. Open, sign the transaction. And then the last thing that I need to do in order to enter into a leverage long position is that I need to sell that CUSD for Celo. So again, I'm going to navigate back to, and we can see here I just received the 15 CUSD I borrowed. So I'm going to navigate over to Ubeswap, sell the CUSD for Celo, and let's go ahead and initiate a swap for 15 CUSD. sign the transaction using Valora. And as soon as this transaction is confirmed, I will be in a leveraged long position. Great, perfect. So these are the basic functionality of Moola. We will be adding MC Euro support after the contract is executed on chain. The last thing I want to point out is the health factor. So this indicates how healthy your loan is. A health factor under 100% means that your collateral can be liquidated. Keeping it 300 and above is what I would consider to be a very safe position, given the price fluctuations of the Celo native asset. The last thing I want to point out is that technical users can use our CLI commands. The C-Euro CLI commands will be available as soon as the C-Euro contract token goes live. The front end will do a little testing, and then we'll allow that to go live. If you're building a dApp, you can integrate with our amazing APIs and integrate directly into the contracts. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Patrick, for your presentation. Now we'll have Ian from Ubeswap.
Hey, everyone. Next slide. So I'm Ian, the founder of Ubeswap. And Ubeswap is basically a mobile-first DeFi exchange. Next slide, please. It's a mobile-first DeFi exchange that lets you trade different assets. And as Patrick showed, we even have integrations with other protocols like Moola, so you could directly deal with Moola tokens. Could I get the next slide, please? Or the one after this. So we've been building a lot of things over the past 2 months, and one of the big things we launched is Ubeswap Analytics. And this was made possible because of the graph and the fact that Celo is completely EVM compatible, meaning that we didn't really have to change a ton of code in order to integrate with Celo rather than Ethereum. But now you can actually see all the different assets that are available on the Ubeswap platform and just understand the prices of everything. Next slide, please. So today we actually launched our token farming, the Ube token. And what the Ube token is, it's a governance token. It lets people vote on how our protocol is run. So Ubeswap is a community project where we want everyone to be able to participate in making the best possible exchange for the Celo ecosystem. So people who hold tokens are able to control all these different parts of the protocol. The other big thing about the Ube token is that it incentivizes liquidity on Ubeswap, which means that people no longer have to leave the Celo chain in order to trade different assets. Rather, they can just trade the assets that are available in the Celo chain using an exchange. The contracts of Ubeswap are based on Uniswap, SushiSwap, and synthetics, and we've gone through extensive audits to make sure that your funds are secure. Next slide, please. So how to earn Ube. So the way Ube token is earned is by staking liquidity into Ubeswap. Basically, what you do is you let people trade between a pair of tokens, and the pairs that are involve a permutation of these 3 types of tokens plus a Ube token. So the first one is Moola, Celo dollars, and Celo euros. So these are interest-bearing assets that let people have some sort of stability in the price while still earning interest when they're providing liquidity. There's also the MCO2 token. So MCO2 is a tokenized carbon offset. So one of these tokens represents offsetting 1 ton of carbon from the atmosphere. So by incentivizing liquidity here, we can encourage people to take carbon offsets off the market. So MCO2 can issue more carbon offsets to help offset the carbon of our entire platform. And the last thing is saving Celo. So saving Celo is a way to take your Celo and automatically stake it, but still trade it, like keep it tradable as a token. So basically all the Celo that gets accrued from normally staking a token to vote gets put into the saving Celo contract so that token holders can not have to worry about dealing with locked Celo. Next slide, please. So one big thing about Ubeswap is that we do not actually incentivize CUSD or CEUR pairs directly. And that's because of this thing we like to call the liquidity engine. So Ubeswap provides Ube rewards to people who are staking a lot of capital into Moola, because all of the different pairs usually have either MCUSD or MCEUR as a base pair. But what Moola does, because it has all that liquidity, is that Moola allows people to take on leverage so that they can continue to redistribute capital in ways that are able to help entrepreneurs and all sorts of people on the Celo ecosystem be able to achieve their financial goals. So what we hope with this integration with Moola is that it will increase the liquidity a lot more than if we were to just work in a bubble. Next slide, please. So our roadmap for the next quarter, I guess until the next Kuneco, would be to provide more assets onto the Celo ecosystem. So historically, the Celo ecosystem has only had the Celo assets, and now we have Moola and Ubeswap on here, but we still want a lot more so that people can just stay on Celo all the time. And to do that, we want to help new projects get liquidity. So Poof is one of them, which they're going to be speaking soon, and Wrap from yesterday would be really great to have. So like Wrap, Bitcoin, ETH, trading all sorts of large cap cryptocurrencies on Ubeswap. The other things, we want to launch a token creation platform so people can easily create new tokens, and we'll have a fund to fund projects that are building on top of Ubeswap and helping the DeFi ecosystem within Celo. Yeah, next slide, please. So you can connect with us on Twitter at Ubeswap or join our Discord, which is on our website. And again, our token launched today. So if you want to participate in the initial liquidity mining rewards, you should visit our website, ubeswap.org. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. And for next, let's welcome Brian from Poof.cash.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get my screen to share. All right, there we go. I think it's, I'm gonna give it a sec. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Brian, and I'm the founder of Poof.cash, which is a protocol for decentralized private transactions on Celo. Today, all transactions and balances on Celo are public by default, and this has some major consequences. The first is that transactions reveal identity, balances, and transaction history. Say, for instance, I went to a coffee shop and I went and bought a coffee and paid with my Valora wallet. The cashier could actually look at which wallet I paid with and see all my balances and my previous transaction history, what I've bought in the past, where I've been, and my patterns. In some cases, this can put individuals at risk. Second, businesses can't operate without privacy. If we envision a world where businesses have adopted blockchain technology, there's a limit to what they can do publicly on a blockchain. And without privacy, these businesses are forced to publicize company financials, assets, and things like customer pricing. And lastly, governance is not anonymous on a public blockchain. Today, we're seeing a lot more governance happen on-chain. And without privacy, this can bias voters to be socially acceptable rather than voting on their actual beliefs and the things that they care about. And Poof.cash, we're building Poof.cash because we want to bring privacy to Celo and help solve these problems that exist today. So I'm happy to say that we have a live version of the Poof.cash interface on testnet Alpha Horus. So I'm going to do a quick demo of using our interface. So here is the Poof.cash interface. And the first thing I do is I connect my wallet with Valora. Once it's connected, I have to select an amount that I want to deposit. So I'm going to select 0.1 Celo. And I can review my transaction. And when I review it, I see that there's a magic password. This magic password is going to be used to withdraw the money at a later step. So I copy it to clipboard. I have to approve this deposit transaction on Valora. So I approve it. And then once it completes, I can verify the transaction on the Celo Explorer. And on the Celo Explorer, we can see that I sent money from my wallet to the Poof privacy contract. And 0.1 Celo got transferred. So now I'm going to withdraw. I'm going to paste the magic password that I just got from the deposit step. And I'm just going to deposit the funds back into the wallet that I used to deposit. So then when I execute the withdrawal, I'll actually not have to approve this transaction on Valora because a relayer does the transaction for me on my behalf. So we just got a notification that I received 0.1 Celo, and we can verify this on the Celo Explorer as well and see that 0.1 Celo was transferred. All right, so we just saw a demo on what the core privacy features look like for Poof. In addition to that, the Poof protocol is going to have two new tokens, the Poof and the Celo token. The Poof token is going to be a governance token that can vote in the Poof protocol and governance DAO. And then the Celo token is a token that we're going to release that allows users to simultaneously earn validator voting rewards and Poof rewards when it's staked in privacy contracts. Next, DeFi Legos. I think one of the most beautiful things about DeFi is just how everything is able to integrate with each other. And it's no different for Moola, Ubeswap, and Poof. So with Moola, we want to allow users to earn interest and Poof tokens by depositing Moola assets into the Poof privacy contracts. And with Ubeswap, we're releasing two new tokens. So it's really important that users have liquidity for these assets. So we also want to add pools for these tokens on Ubeswap. In terms of our roadmap, in April, we want to have a mainnet launch with our core privacy functionality. In May, we want to have governance and rewards set in place. And in June, we want to focus on UX improvements. So that way, privacy doesn't need to be difficult. And finally, thank you for listening. If you're interested in our project, I would encourage you to connect with us. We're on Twitter. You can find our Discord link on our website, Poof.cash. And I'm also leaving my email here for any inquiries, Brian@Poof.cash. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And let's welcome Leighton from PoolTogether for the next speaker.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so my name's Leighton. I'm from PoolTogether, and I'm a contributor to PoolTogether protocol, which is a protocol with the mission to help make everyone wealthy. And so you can go to the next slide. The way we are doing that is by building a protocol for prize savings. And I want to basically use this quick couple minutes to talk about what prize savings are, because it's not a well-known financial primitive, why they work well on the blockchain, and why specifically on Celo. So going to the next slide, prize savings, it's a pretty simple concept. You can actually go to the next slide, one more. Basically, it's the idea of a savings account where, just like any other savings account, you deposit money, you never lose your money, you can withdraw your money whenever you want to. But instead of earning like a very low APR, which most savings accounts offer, everyone's interest is combined and randomly given out as prizes. So instead of having, a 1% APR, you have a chance to win $100,000 every week. So that's what prize savings are. And if you go to the next slide, at first, at first glance, I think price savings kind of sound like an interesting gimmick. It kind of sounds like something cool, but not maybe super useful. But I want to make the argument that price savings are actually very economically and psychologically differentiated from all other financial products. So going to the next slide, if you think of the primary rule of investing, it's like the more risk you take on, the more potential return you have, right? So if you invest in your friend's startup, really high risk, really high potential return. On the flip side, if you save your money, it's very low risk, but you have very, very low potential return. So if you go to the next slide, what's really cool about prize savings is that it breaks this paradigm. It's the only consumer financial product that offers people a chance for an exponential return without needing to take on any principal risk. And that is super important for people who don't have a lot of money already, right? Compounding returns really only make sense when you have a lot of money. And if you don't have a lot of money, compounding returns don't make any sense. So that's why prize savings are really economically interesting. And if you go to the next slide, I also think they're really psychologically interesting because typically financial products are in two categories. There's ones that are sort of like good for you, but really boring to use, and ones that are bad for you, but really fun to use, like gambling, et cetera. And so what prize savings does, and I show this on the next slide, is it really combines these two categories together to make a protocol that is both psychologically engaging to use, but also healthy for your financial life. And so that's what prize savings are, and that's what PoolTogether is. And if you go to the next slide, there's a really big market for this already. So prize savings are not something that was just invented in the blockchain era. Actually, if you go to the next slide, the biggest prize savings program right now in the world is in the UK, where there's over $100 billion saved in prize savings accounts. It's called premium bonds in the UK, but it's the exact same concept. And so this is a concept that's proven to be very, very popular, very useful. It's proven to help people not spend money on lotteries and instead save their money. There's a lot of research supporting that thesis. And obviously, it also not only, I think it works 10x better on a blockchain. So going to the next slide, I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir about like why blockchain, but by building it on a blockchain, you have something that's decentralized. It's much more efficient. It's user owned, and it can be much, much better than the legacy financial alternatives. And I think specifically building on Celo, which is the next slide, I think Celo specifically is uniquely well built for prize savings. I think because of the audience that Celo reaches, being mobile first and being obviously focusing on super low transaction fees and accessibility, and the audience for prize savings, again, it's not really the mega whales who are floating around the crypto world. It's really actually the average kind of consumer people. So that's why we're really excited to have PoolTogether on Celo. So PoolTogether the protocol is live right now on Ethereum, and work is being done right now to bring it over to Celo. So actually, the next slide it just kind of shows some of the stats from what's happened on Ethereum so far. But I think this is actually one of the interesting things to recognize, right? There's like $200 million deposited in the protocol from 10,000 users, right? And so we really want to kind of flip those numbers around a bit, where we have 200 million people using the protocol, and hundreds of still obviously millions and billions of dollars of deposits, but coming from a much broader audience. And so that's what we believe is possible with Celo, and that's why we're really excited about prize savings on Celo. So next slide is my last one, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Leighton. I think we have a little bit of time for. I'm not really sure whether we have that much time left for the Q&A, but just one quick question to Ube. I think I was waiting for Ubeswap to launch as well from Korea. I think we have 5 minutes. And is Ube staking is going to be proceeded this year or like this quarter, or what's your plan on it? I was quite curious about it.
We're hoping it happens sometime this year, but we want to prioritize protocol growth right now, which means incentivizing liquidity providers as much as possible. So yes, there's staking of the liquidity tokens right now, but it wouldn't be the staking of the exchange fees.
Okay. I'll just open up for the around the room for probably 4 minutes from now. So if there are any things that you guys want to add.
Patrick, do you want to give us any preview of what's coming for Moola?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, some of the things that we are absolutely looking forward to delivering to the community include the ability to redirect your interest earned. Prize link savings is absolutely 100% within the realm of what you can do when you're able to redirect the yield that that generally comes back into your account. But it also expands the design landscape of what's possible. So another use case that I personally love is, for example, redirecting the interest earned on your deposit to a UBI market in impact markets. And for me, this really brings together the composability of DeFi combined with the ethos of the Celo ecosystem. And so this is something that we're actively working on, and I'm super excited to bring to you sooner than later.
Yeah, that's awesome. The natively building that functionality for interest redirection will be really cool.
Yeah, 100%. Another piece that I'm excited about that'll take a little bit longer to develop is this idea of credit delegation, the ability to give your borrowing capacity to another account. So an analogy that I'll use is, let's say that you own your home outright and your home is worth, let's say, $100,000. You go to your bank, you ask your bank for a line of credit. They say you can have $75,000 to borrow against your account, but you don't actually, to borrow against your home rather, but you don't actually want to spend that money. And your friend comes to you and says, hey, I'm opening up this new business and I need a revolving line of credit. And so what you do is give your friend access to that line of credit that you have. You're redirecting your credit. And so why would you do this? Well, you can charge your friend a little bit more than what the bank is charging you and essentially earn additional yield on your money. So where this can be useful is in opening up unsecured loans. I saw the I think is the winner, one of the winners of the hackathon, right? We've got some amazing microfinance opportunities in the space. And my goal is that this mechanism, if designed properly, can help solve that coordination problem and get unsecured capital into the hands of applications, people, projects that are getting it out into the world and really on the ground where it makes a difference in people's lives.
It's awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. I think we have spent all the time that we have. So great conversation. Thank you so much, Patrick, Ian, Leighton, Brian, for your presentations. I think I think this wraps up the session that we're in right now. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.